service in World War II, and in building the country. But I'd like to think that Yudi and his generation of Eastern European immigrants who left everything they knew behind and came to the States to build a better life for themselves, and remarkably did so, deserve their own recognition. In his lifetime, Yudi, who started off as a peddler, using the name, according to family lore, Jesus, with his Spanish-speaking customers, so perhaps the only Yudi Jesus in history, built a successful lumber business in San Antonio, and sent his 3 children, who spoke only Yiddish on the first day of kindergarten, onto college and into the professional world. Of course, it is cliche to say that he lived the American dream, but it is also true. From very humble beginnings, Yudi was able to build a life for himself and his family, a struggle that I will never know or fully appreciate. If you'll grant me the luxury of a small, short tangent. As a college student, I attended a taping of the Conan O'Brien show with a group of classmates. Before the show, the warm-up comedian came out to get the crowd engaged. Among other things, he asked us if there were any groups present in the audience. Excitedly, everyone hooted and cheered, trying to get his attention, and the comedian went around the room asking everybody what group they represented. There were a number of college groups there that day, and all I can remember is that the colleges were something like Southwestern Methodist College of the Eastern Seaboard of Tennessee, all very small colleges. When he came to our group, the group of us, we all shouted excitedly, "Columbia!" To which the comedian replied, "Columbia, isn't that Latin for my daddy went there?" I was outraged. I was indignant. I earned my place at Columbia through hard work, through student leadership. I couldn't believe that he was saying such a thing. So I, in my great retort, trying to prove him wrong, shouted back, "My daddy went to Harvard!" Only after the words came out of my mouth did I realize that maybe that wasn't the best way to pull myself up by the bootstraps in arguments. Yudi, like my dad, had a great sense of humor, so I think he'd appreciate that story. What I perhaps didn't realize at the time I attended the Conan O'Brien show was that the achievements that I have earned are only possible because of those who paved the way for me and put me in the position to achieve them. Yudi had a favorite saying, "America, you goners. America, you thief, you rascal." Something he would say when he saw a modern technological miracle. Yudi never saw the moon landing, let alone Siri and GPS and Shazam, Uber, but he appreciated the bounty and ingenuity of America. I like to think that my life and those of my children are the continuation of Yudi's American dream. Elon Yehuda, today and in your life, we want you to feel connected to those who came before you, those you knew and those you didn't, who made sacrifices to give you the opportunities you could be granted, whose wisdom, values, and dedication to their families created our amazing family and extended family, many of whom are live streaming today, and who continue to influence our lives in ways both obvious and subtle, and whose shoulders you stand on and who embark on the wonderful and beautiful life that we hope you will have. We want you to recognize that it is also a responsibility to recognize the gift that you've been given as you make your way in the world. Like the strong tree, we hope that you have a deep rootedness in your place in this world, your community, and your family, as you write the next chapter in our family story. Wait, anytime.
All right, so as Dina said, Elon Yehuda is also named after my Opa. Like Dina's grandfather, his story is also the story of the American. He grew up poor in Hamburg, put himself through medical school, and was among the last Jews Shut up. I was one of the last Jews to graduate from Hamburg Medical School before the laws prevented Jews from attending. He came to America with a medical license, with a medical degree but no license, and headed west. practicing medicine in those Jewish meccas of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Cimarron, New Mexico, mining towns and railroad towns. During World War II, he served as a physician in the Army. At one point in the war, he became the most senior officer in a town in occupied Germany. And as a result, he was the de facto mayor of that town. The thought of this young Jewish doctor who had only recently fled Hitler's Germany, going back after the fall of the Reich. Now in a position of power in this town is one of the images of him that I savor the most. It's just for the pure irony of it. Legend has it that during that period of time, he was with his MP and he stopped a German citizen who was illegally carrying a gun and took the gun from him. And that night went back to his office, boxed it up, and sent it to his brother who was fighting in the state of Israel. The story might not exactly be true, but the truth of the character is there. After the war, my grandparents became fixtures in Denver, raising 3 children, acting as surrogates to children of his brother who had passed away young, developing a successful medical practice, becoming pillars of the Jewish community. My uncle took up painting, and being from Denver, of course, skiing. His incredibly bad form never detracting from his enthusiasm, and enthusiasm which he has passed on now to his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren. The essence of my Opa was a man of integrity and conviction, channeling what some may have called stubbornness into a constructive trait. He held fast to his beliefs and his commitments. Whether that meant leading Yom Kippur prayers in a town of 11 Jewish families, traveling to Israel long before such a thing was common or easy, or founding a Jewish day school in Denver in the 1950s when something like that seemed only like a pipe dream. He demonstrated that one can live life engaged in the society around them without being any less engaged or committed to his Jewish community. Elon Yehuda, there are many stories I look forward to sharing with you about your Opa life. I pray that you share his integrity and his conviction, and you find ways to integrate the many parts of your life into a whole, and you grow into a man who puts commitment to others into your actions, large and small. Before I finish, I just want to say a couple of thank yous. First, to my in-laws. For those of you who don't know, Dina and I thought this would be a wonderful time of our lives to gut the inside of our house and move out for what's now turned into a quarter of a year. We've been living with my in-laws, with them, and for my children, sometimes literally on top of them. And they've been incredibly generous and graceful to us. And of course, I want to thank Dina, who's been my teammate, my partner, the best wife, and the best mother I can imagine. I'm very grateful every day for you and for our children and for the family that we get to build every day together. And thank you all for coming.
All right, we'll keep it short.